When we think about a film set, Kevin and I often have this joke on sound being the thing that is always last thought about and it's always in a rush. But today we're going to talk about how you can make better sound and make your film sound better with a focus on the thing that I think many of us find hard in getting that lav buried and getting that audio crisp for narrative films. So Kevin, take it away, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you, Derek. Hi, everybody. I'm Kevin. Uh, Derek told me there be 20 people here today. So this is not 20 people. Just show of hands. Anybody that currently works in sound right now? Anybody? Salutation sales work? But okay, cool. So this is kind of like a lot of people that probably bring with a sound team or what people like myself that get us all set. And we bring a bunch of gear. I like to make the joke that, the video gear is like house money and my gear is like car money. Because what we spend on our gear, the value of it is a little bit cheaper. But the value of it in the production is extremely important here. So I'm gonna go through just a little bit about myself. I work for the Ontario Institute of Audio Recording Technology. A couple of our grads are even here today, which is cool. Uh, and so for everything that we do at the school, we train for how to work on set. As an audio specialist, whether that's for boom op, whether that's for re-recording mixers, assistants, all those kinds of things. So I have the pleasure. I've worked with Derek before, like he was saying, and a few of the directors that have been here today. And I've really been able to get to work on commercials, short films, doc work, whether that's location or post. And I'm gonna say that the biggest challenge that very commonly get, if may not have known how to capture good audio on location. There really is that phrase "fix it in post," but it really doesn't work that well. So I think for today, the whole focus will be I'm going to talk a little bit about the boom, but I am going to focus on lavalier mics. So has anybody used a lavalier mic to mic themselves up, mic somebody else up? Anybody? Okay. Have you had any problems with it? Yes. What are your problems? I'll fix them. Fabric. Yeah. That's probably the number one thing, a fabric rustle or some kind of obstruction that's happening. So to back up just a little bit, when I'm doing any kind of location gig, I do a lot of preparation work. And I'm gonna say it's like a 10 to 1. For the amount of time I have to be on set physically doing something with a lav miking somebody, I'm doing about 10 times that work preparing for something in advance. So I'm asking questions, how many people are gonna be on set? How many people are gonna be talking at the same time? What's the atmosphere going to be like? Are we doing interior? Are we doing exterior shots? Those things all make a huge difference on our sound team and the gear that we choose to bring. So, for example, today I've got just like the mix pre, the sound devices mix pre, which is super basic. It's got 4 ins, 6 ins basically, and a couple outs. If you're doing YouTube content, if you're doing things like that, or social content, and you're not being very movable or you're being very stationary, it's a great device to use to get good preamp levels. Some of these can work at 32-bit float, which solves a lot of people's problems right off the bat if they're having troubles with gain staging. Secondly, let's talk a little bit about the boom mic. So, just to get started, um, you guys have all seen these before. If I'm on the set, I'm gonna prioritize trying to use a boot, and there's a couple reasons for that. Mostly the first one is that I've got a lot of flexibility as I could do a lot of different things, and I can actually capture a lot differently than it came with the lab. I also have issue and then I go full free. So when it comes to sound, and as soon as it travels on, I have to do it to add variable control on what that is. This will be way yeah. So I'm gonna prioritize starting with a boom, but we all know that we get a wide angle shot, and I do all use DPs. I love wide angle shots, and I know that you want to have some far away Turks, let's blap it as designed together. Getting a boom is not always possible, and there's just times where an entire production will work to the boom, so we always have to go to a lab. So first step first, if you can use a boom, highly recommend using it. This is the the easy set, $330. Does a great job, really inefficient. This K-Tech all $300 as well. So for $600 can then get wired, right? So I don't really have and I really don't have to brass people all the way up there, which is unbeat. One technique I always tell people: if you're going to utilize a boom, start with your furthest point as you're extending it, right? The reason for that is if I'm down here, right, and I need more wheel base, if I've extended this one first, I got to go all the way down that part of full to extend further. Just a quick tip for, start here, work your way back. Uh, I'll get more a little bit on this when we get our actress up here, and we'll kind of showcase a couple of things that I would typically do with your booze, except for the fact that we're gonna support this. Okay, so I've set up new friends of mine here. I don't know their names, but they fit the 70s theme for today. So what I've done is I've prepped 5 microphones in 5 different ways that I would commonly start. And I mentioned that I do a lot of prep work. What that looks like is that when I get on stage or when I get to a location, I've done a ton of evaluating. I'm looking at the room. I'm identifying any problems that are going to happen within, impeding factors. The number one thing I get called up for or why I'm on set is to record dialogue. So I'm always thinking, there are a lot of, sets that go for one day where I'm there because it's capturing the dialogue. And then it's 4 other days doing all your really fun creative work with lights and all the really cool stuff. But they just need the actors for one day. So when I come in, I might not know everybody. So I have to do a lot of interpersonal work in order to engage with the actress or engage with the actor. And at that point, thank you. Nailed it. There it is. Sweet. Thanks, Nathan. So when I get to set, I'm doing things like listening to my actor. I'm paying attention to the sound of their voice. That's a huge thing that people sleep on because they think they get in there and Derek made the joke. Yeah, you jump up and on set and they say, okay, sound, you got 5 minutes with the actor. And I have to do a lot of work like, what do they sound like? What's their behavior like? Are they erratic? Are they a new time actor? Have they done this a lot? What does their voice actually sound like? I might choose a totally different microphone for that. So in the preparation stage, there's being prepared and then there's being like extra prepared, which is what I always go for because you're going to get out on set. I talked to some people earlier and they mentioned they do some dog training. That means they're probably out in fields. That means they probably don't have backup batteries, backup microphone, extra things. So as a sound recordist, it's really important to do all that prep work and then prepare again. So for today, I'll demonstrate, sorry for you people there, I kind of have 2 of the same thing ready to go. I've got Ursa Straps sent us a bunch of stuff for today, which is great. So if you don't know who Ursa Straps are, they're one of the leading providers in, we call them fuzzies or stickies or things that'll actually adhere your microphone. So for today, and straps because they provide us straps. So I've prepped this one where I'm going to use something like this right in the sternum. Every time we place a lavalier mic, the ideal spot's going to be just like 2 fingers above that like sternum bone there. So every time, that's my go-to spot to start. My second spot is going to be up in the collar, and the third spot I saw the guitar player had a nice hat on. That might be a spot if I really can't get a lav because I think he's got some corduroy on. I told you, I do a lot of preparation. I do a lot of observing, right? Because I need examples like this, and his coat probably would be pretty loud. So I'm going to start there. If that doesn't work, I'm going to go to the collar. Failing that, I might grab one of these straps where I can actually place the microphone like right inside the strap, and then it's going to wrap around the artist's bust here. And then from there, we'll do some cable management. That's the other trick that'll kind of, the good giveaway that I'll give you today. So if you guys couldn't see that, yeah, I've just got one here. Somebody mentioned clothing rustle. So all of the products that Ursa supplies, those ones are specifically like they're medical grade tape. The fuzzies are very fleece-like. They're designed specifically to reduce the amount of friction that happens on the microphone. So we'll try to show that today through this speaker because there's a lot of things that you can hear. Typically, I've got headphones in my mixer and I'm listening at like a pretty loud volume because I really want to hear any kind of frequency changes or shifts or things that don't work. Yeah. So I'm going to pass out a couple of these things because you can all kind of get an idea. I'll just hand these out. Sorry, this might feedback. You guys can just pass those around. Try not to take any apart. Unfortunately, in sound, we have a lot of like very nuanced things and very small items. So you'll notice I'm very like kind of pack ready. You guys can see those if you want to pass them around. Anything from Ursa tape or Ursa straps, it's going to be fantastic. Highly recommend them. I don't endorse too many products, but here, you guys can grab some of those there. And you guys can come up here afterward and kind of fiddle around and I can throw some microphones up and you can listen to it and hear how it sounds. So the first one I'm going to start with Pretty basic, and it's probably the one I'm going to demo on our actress later. I'm going to start with our Ursa tape, and I'm going to just, I call it, we call this dressing a microphone. So you can see that I'm going to use my Ursa tape there, and I'm going to kind of select it. I'm just going to place it on there. Yeah, really hard to see. I'm sorry. And that's going to adhere directly onto, I'll show you guys in a sec. That's going to directly go onto here, somewhere around that spot there. Does that make sense to everybody? I've taken one Ursa tape and then I've taken another one. I've kind of stacked them on top of it. That's my first go-to. And like I said, I do a lot of preparation. The first starting spot that I'm going to, and if it doesn't sound good, I'm probably going to have my headphones on right now listening to what this sounds like. And I'm probably already going to have a good idea of the person's build, the person's body. The second step I'm going to do is I'm going to always carry scissors safely. And then I'm going to start to use, I'm always going to have some medical grade, like 3M tape, kind of a rope with, I got some extra tape here to put some lines. This one specifically, some actors and actresses, they don't want to be touched with tape. So you can kind of like give them a bit of like, hey, this is like, it's not going to bother your skin. If you have to put it in their neckline or anything like that. So we could go as simple as just plug this into the microphone or into the pack, the receiver pack, and then we could just put that into our camera or into our device. But the problem that's going to happen with that is that there's a ton of tension. Sorry, I'm going to bring this over here for you guys as well. Can everybody see that okay? Yeah. So if we simply just plug this in now, the shock load that's going to happen on this microphone is automatically going to have problems. So we're going to do two things. First one is probably the gold right now that I'm giving away to everybody, but it's going to be a loop. And if you ask me the technical reason why this works, mathematically, I don't know why, or sonically, I don't really know, but we're going to make a loop like this. And I'll show this on our actress later. We're just going to tape this here. Okay. And that's going to do two things. We're going to give ourselves a little bit of strain relief right now. Like I can let that go. And you can see that that's just going to hang out there. So if anything happens later down the line here, it's not affecting this part of the microphone. Okay. Secondly, we're going to tape this around here, another spot here, and then we're going to run it into the back, into the pack. Sound good? Yeah. Cool. If that doesn't work, I've got a second pad here, so I can kind of show this. This one you can see, I think I gave out some of those foamies there, but you can pass this one around here. The tape on the backing there that's called sticky stuff. It's fantastic. Another product I will endorse. So the foamy that's going around, they look like this. Sometimes I'll use a pin for them as well, if you want to use that one. If I need to clip it into something, that foam right there will hold on to cotton really nicely. So if you get some movement going, that cotton is just going to hold on it and the whole shirt itself moves a little bit together. So yeah, so just to give you a perspective, the stuff that Ursa gave us today is like $200. So I don't recommend diving out there and, buying a whole bunch of stuff, but it is nice to have. They're really helpful on set. So those are going to be my starting spots. If this doesn't work, I'm going to plan B, which is going to be adding a little bit of space from the microphone to here or from the shirt to the microphone. There's going to be one of those two problems. Hairy chests are a problem. I'm always going to go for the skin as best as possible. These tapes are designed specifically so that as they rip or as they sweat off, they're not going to make the kind of sound that masking tape or duct tape. So please, if you're going away with anything, do not use any of those masking or duct tapes on your productions. It's going to be a disaster. And then failing any of those, the last thing I'm going to do is just a really simple one with some Ursa backing tape. And again, it's probably easier if you come up afterward because we're going to get Cynthia. Did I say that? Yeah. Okay. Which leads me to my next point. So a lot of my job, surprisingly, is a small amount technical. I have to know the technical side, but a lot of it is interpersonal. I just met Cynthia today, so she's going to come up here and we're going to try and just kind of emulate exactly how this is going to work and exactly what I would do on set. So I'm going to keep my distance. She's going to stand in my lined spot, which I kind of put for roughly for the boom. The first thing, I'm going to always have a pack of gum on me. That's going to be a priority. Okay. Hot tip. That's a good one. I'm going to manicure in some fashion my nails for the day because they're going to be close to her face. And if she looks at my hands and she's like, wow, that's absolutely disgusting, I've probably already thrown the actor or actress off in like, I don't want to be somebody that's taking away from their performance today. And again, I get 5 minutes sometimes. It's a running joke that audio gets rushed, but it's something that all this prep stuff, I do this on set on purpose. All the mics, I have a couple backups. They're all ready to go in case something doesn't work. I run back. Okay, I got another one. Okay, let me try this, and I can do this pretty quickly. We're gonna mimic kind of how this goes. So I'm gonna introduce myself. I'm gonna say hi, I'm Kevin. Nice to meet you. And I've already kind of evaluated her speaking voice and things like that. So I'm going to ask her to take her shirt off because I need to get underneath here. So I'm going to appropriately do this, but just, hey, are you comfortable? Is that okay if you take your shirt off, or like, is that going to be uncomfortable for you? You good with that? So now we're going to work with kind of what we were working with our mannequin scenario, where we're going to be able to put this up against her chest here, right in the sternum spot. And then we're going to run it down exactly how I did before. I can do all the same thing, but I'm going to let the actress do it because I don't really have to. I can just show her exactly what I want to do. So cool with that?
Yep.
So let's go with, I gave out all my microphones. You can't steal those, by the way. I need them back. Let's go with, you know what? We'll do this brown one here. So I'm going to, what's that?
Number of organization.
Oh, perfect. So I'm going to pre-rip these because it's embarrassing to try and do this in front of you all. It's very tedious. I just sometimes do that. I'll lay out a bunch of tape so I got it really quickly. I got it on my bag or something, but I cut these predetermined. So I'm going to get you to take this one and you're just going to place it underneath your shirt on that spot there against your skin. So just kind of like that. Yep. Yeah, perfect. And she knows where her sternum is. If I give her that example, she's going to know what to do. I don't have to go touching the actress or actor or anything like that. The next thing, so I've got this one. I know it's not black. I would use black. I just gave the microphone out. These are just, this is a sticky with the little felt pad here. So this is going to protect, it should protect the microphone from rustling on the inside of her shirt now. So very similar to this setup here, we're going to try to mimic that again. So I'm going to get you, so the other microphone technique, you're always going to have these in your hands, right? So I'm going to give you this here, and you're going to put that down your shirt, and then you're going to hand it back to me. And I'm not going to go grabbing, right? I'm just going to politely ask like, hey, is this okay? She hands it back, and then I'm going to hand this to her. And I just want her to fit that on this exact same spot that I did here. So if you can just get that in the same spot. Now, the only scenario I might ask, because I'm going to be listening to this, I have no clue how this is going to sound right now, but I'm going to be listening to this on my ears. And if I start to hear it already rustling, I might ask, yep, right there. Perfect. I might ask her if I can like hold my thumb there and she just leans into me. That's going to give me like a nice adhesion. I'm going to hope that, is that okay?
Yep.
Cool. So you can just lean in. Cool. And then I'll just make sure that's good there. So then I'm gonna do the loop, and then I'm gonna do, so if you can hold on to that for me, that'd be great. Can anybody tell me a problem that's gonna happen with this actress right now? Anybody? Anybody being observant? No takers? Nobody noticed the,
Okay.
no, that's fine.
This out of your hand.
We're gonna fix that. Anybody else? Nobody noticed the bracelet she's wearing? Yeah? This is why we get paid. Because the bracelets are probably going to be somewhat problematic. So I'm just going to go in there and just make the loop and tape it on you, if that's okay. So like that. And I'm hoping I can showcase how this is going to work. And then I'm going to do one here, if that's okay. And then we're going to run it to the back. Cool. Derek, how are we doing for time?
You're doing great, man.
Woo! So again, is anybody having anxiety that this is going to sound good? Yeah. If you're working on set, this is exactly the level, like you have to be fast. So prepping all this stuff takes, it does take a lot. So you can see already, if I'm doing anything here, and Cynthia, if you just kind of like move around a little bit, like nothing of that cable is an architecture is moving anymore. And I've got that taped there, right? So now I'm going to just ask Cynthia to hold this. Cool. Get out of here. We don't need that. And sorry, what was your name? Victor. So Victor mentioned that this is going to show on underneath the shirt. And we're actually going to get Cynthia to put her other sweater back on. So the idea here is that my pack, so I'm using a Sennheiser 5 or G4 500 series. These are great. Like this is probably entry level, $1,300 gets you this pack with a microphone. And that will get you an XLR out and you can get some adapters. But these packs here, I'm going to say are probably the entry level if you're trying to do like other stuff. You got DJI mics that can go direct to camera, but that's not on the same frequency. So if you're setting up in a setting like this would be probably the lowest grade. You can get into WYSICOM, you can get into electrosonics, and they're going to have just a much higher ability to produce sound and RF. So I'm going to plug this in now. And something I've already done is I've calibrated this to work with this microphone for the correct gain staging. And that's really important. So if that went over your head on the technical side, that's okay, because that's not what we're here for today. I'm here to show you this. So if you have questions, though, I'm happy to answer that. Lastly, these straps here, so Ursa Straps sells these. They're fantastic. You can wash them, very reusable, I use them all the time. This is going to hide the pack as well as pack in some of the, like the extra cable and stuff like that. Yes.
I totally forgot she had another shirt. It was more reference to her crop top and the cable going underneath.
Oh, okay.
I forgot another shirt.
Yeah. Yeah, no worries. And that's something I would address with the team. I would say like, hey, what are they wearing? I wouldn't be doing this. Like I would just accommodate that, right? I'd make it a little bit higher. So what I'm gonna do, actually, yeah, that's on there. We'll unmute that there. So Nathan, you should be getting some kind of level. So Cynthia, I'm gonna get you to tell me what you had for breakfast today. And you just tell the crowd.
There you go. I think I had cereal this morning.
Okay, so right away, I'm already seeing that she's got her hands here like this. So I'm just gonna yeah. So, oh, sorry. Yeah, you're cold, right? Because it's freezing in here.
It is freezing in here right now.
So Cynthia, just give me a quick, and I'm just gonna watch my levels here.
Hello, I'm Cynthia, and I had cereal for breakfast this morning.
Cool. Okay. I feel pretty good about those levels. I can't see my receiver back there, but if I could, they're probably going to be fine. I'm going to pack this on with these packs out. So all the buttons, anything, I do not want that to be against her body. Something bumps up against her. Also, you can kind of see the preparation factor here, and these are always embarrassing because you got to really stretch them out. But the preparation factor is huge here because I would probably already have this one done, and most of these packed up, and then I would just be able to, go ahead and pack this under. So they take a little bit of time, but you can also see one thing, these all run on batteries. So you have to be like, I don't want to have to take this out. I don't have to do a bunch of gain staging. I want to get this bang on the first time. So now I'm gonna probably finesse this a little bit more. We'll just fix that tape. And these got little side packs, so you can kind of, but I'm gonna give this to Cynthia. I'm gonna let you grab that there. Oh. I'm gonna mute that while we're, is that me or no? That has to be this one. This one's muted. Okay, and then I'm just gonna get you to pack that around there. And you can just make it as tight as you want, whatever is most comfortable for you. And if you want to hand it to me, I can kind of finish it there. Cool. So if you want to spin around a little bit, I just want them to see how that pack looks. Are you comfortable? Is it uncomfortable?
No, it's okay.
Yeah. So the antenna, there's lots of protectors for those. That's your goal. You need to be protecting your antennas, and obviously the input. So if there's any like hard tension there on the input, I'm just going to tuck these, I'll just kind of tie these up nicely, and I'll stack that. And sorry, watch my fingers here. And then I'm just going to put the shirt, actually going to unmute it. So we should be unmuted now. So, and I'm going to just finesse the shirt. Sometimes, if you're working on a high level set, like I'd be like, hey, wardrobe, like that's you guys. That's not me anymore. Because I don't want to like mess up the wardrobe for continuity, things like that. So what we're going to do now, I'm already hearing a little bit. So there is a little bit of rustle there. So let's get Cynthia. I'm going to mute. So that we should just be hearing her mic. So let's just do a little bit of talk. Like
Okay.
anything, yeah.
I don't know what you want me to say. Hello, everyone. How's it going today? Good. Everyone's really excited. Yep.
Yeah, everyone's really excited. So I'm hearing a little bit of like that, like right. So that's something that automatically I'm going to probably grab one of my fuzzies, or I'm going to make a little bit more separation. Or since I've given myself some room, I kind of thought she put it a little bit too low. So I actually might want her to move it up a little bit further. So would that be okay?
Yep.
Okay, so let's try that. Naturally, um, typically when working with males and females tend to actually be a little bit easier. There's a bra there. Or assuming there's a bra there, or there's just a little bit more of a concave section that honestly, I don't know why, but it just seems to be a little bit easier to put the lav mic there. There's a natural protection, for anything where it's very, very up against the clothing. We just have to make a little bit of that gap. Go okay?
It's high.
Let's see. Do you mind?
Yeah, no. But I don't know if it's high enough because just my bra's there. So
Okay. Yeah, so it's kind of sitting under the bra line there. So this is my first spot that I'm gonna probably go to. And do we have it unmuted there, Nate?
But it's under my bra, so
Okay.
maybe a little bit.
Yeah, so you might get a little bit of that. So if it sounds good, it is good. That's my motto. Like if it sounds good, I'm like, cool. Hands off, I'm ready to go. So if you want to do just a little bit of this, that sounds pretty good to me. We're getting some feedback. I don't usually have to deal with feedback in my headphones. So I'm going to show one little thing, if you don't mind. I'm just going to showcase this section here. So if everybody's quiet, you can kind of hear that sound. If I were to take out, see how down there doesn't make that sound. Up here, remember I told you that loop? That loop is the magic. Anything that happens after that loop is going to basically deter. It's just basically making enough of I guess it's connectivity. So any rustling that happens along underneath that loop should be quite diminished from hitting the actual microphone itself or causing the microphone to react. So that's like, if I have one technique that you guys should all take home today, it's going to be practice. It's going to be obviously placement and testing it out. I think because there's the Ursa stuff here, I highly recommend take a couple of them just so you have them available. If you don't have a microphone like this, I totally get it. But yeah, if anybody has any questions or anything you guys anybody want to ask anything? No takers? Any questions? Anybody? Yes?
Sometimes like it sounds okay. Often is there are multiple layers of those things?
Yep. Yeah, great question. So the question was, sometimes the sound is muffled, and how do I deal with that? That's going to sometimes be a choice of the microphone. Something like the Mickey 2, the MKE 2 that comes with the Sennheiser packs, this sometimes have a little bit of a lower end boost in them, whereas something like the Sanken COS 11D, that's going to definitely bring out those mid ranges, so it won't be as muffled. If I have multiple layers of clothing, then I might just fight for in this scenario, like I know she was going to put another sweater on, so I'm just going to point, but I would have probably fought for like right there. If I know that sweater is going to cover that anyway, I'm going to be like, yeah, why don't we just get it up a little bit closer? And again, this can sometimes be like a 2 or 3 times where you don't get it perfect the first time, and you just have to go back and finesse it until you get it right. So I don't think, if anybody's walking out on set, a major set right now, it would be very like intimidating to just do this for the first time and be like, oh, I've never seen how this is done before. I'm just going to hope for the best. So this should hopefully enhance like your YouTube productions, or if you're trying to do something a little bit more cinematic. And then again, I'm always going to start with a boom. So the nice thing is that if I cover this with a boom and a lav, I've got, this track, which is going to probably be the thing I feed to camera, probably the thing I feed to the director. But then for the ISO tracks, when they go into post, if something happens where we've got people talking in the background and all kinds of background noise, that lav hopefully should be a little bit more isolated. And sometimes that works in our favor, that we're getting a clear enough signal, but we're not getting the same level of ambient sound that a boom microphone could pick up. Does that make sense? Cool. Yes.
Have you noticed your looping technique? Does it matter which way you hit it?
Nope.
High?
Okay, yes. How high? I'm not going to be like right up against the microphone. If you want to sit down, you can. Yeah.
With this,
Yeah.
Oh.
That's fine. You should be able to. I hope you can sit down.
I guess that's the
Actually, we can mute it. That way, if you do anything or if the RF kind of craps out there. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So the loop, I'm not going to necessarily be up here, like right against that mic. Also, the nice thing is that like when I said, hey, I think I might want to move that up a little bit more, I've got that slack here and I've got that slack here, right? I'm not always like it. Sometimes that's just for tension as well. But what happens is that the signal level just for whatever reason, again, I don't know the exact science why it's happening, but down here is just not going to give the same impedance like against the microphone, so you're not going to get that scratch. So
We're gonna measure.
maybe I don't know. I've never tested it. We could try it, but so there's two other questions. Yes, both. It's both. It's gonna help that frequency, like it's gonna help from that rustle from further down all the way around the side and into the pack. And then it's also gonna give a strain relief. So if the artist is moving like this, if it's taped up here, from here to here is not gonna move the same way as if you just droop it down. Right? If you go like this and it catches a snag, the whole microphone moves, and that just causes an extra bit of rustle. Yeah. You had a question. That's which? With water. Oh, that's a great question. I probably won't be very involved if it's underwater. That's going to be the start. If they're around water, it really depends on the production. Because if you're watching any reality TV, they all wear these stupid necklaces now that just hang the microphone off. It's like, I don't know, I think it's kind of hack to be honest, but it's a production choice where they're like, yeah, that's gonna work. So the beach ones, like the Too Hot to Handle. Don't ask me why I know that, but whatever. Yeah, like those kinds of productions, they'll just have them on there where there's no shirt, or there's no like you're not gonna do all that work to just have a bunch of tape over the body. It's like the microphone's gonna be there. Um, if it's around water, I'm just maybe a little bit more careful. Um, yeah, but if they're like half in a pool or something, then I'm hoping I can get a boom in there because that pack is going to be pretty hard to like that thing will just fry as soon as it touches water, right? So, yeah. Yeah, so Renee is a graduate from the same program I graduated from, does a lot of location sound, so
around water. There's a company called Q5X, Canadian company based in London, Ontario. Any NFL game that you watch, if you hear the referees out in the field when they announce the call, they all wear a Q5X. All the reality shows, like what was that one, jump on the big balls and all that stuff over, or most of them are into the water flow. But those were all like for Q5X. So they have different models. So they have the super tiny transmitters, and all the mics are sealed. So they're actually watertight.
there you go.
All those people that were jumping on the balls, wiping out into the mud down below, they were all wearing Q5X under their blows because it didn't matter if they got wet. All right. So there are options. It's just what does production require? Like kept saying, where am I going? What am I doing? What am I in for? Right.
Yeah, and knowing how many tool talk. Yeah. I didn't know about those, so thanks, Renee. That's great. And yes,
How would you change your setup, your wireless tunnel movement, or the some that is speaking this way, and like in our situation, speaking to a dog, head down, crouching, obvious, but
in some cases, yes and no, because the microphones that like this microphone, for example, that I'm wearing is a cardioid mic, so it has a very directional spot. So if you hear me like that, it's very close, has proximity effect. My voice is going to get lower. If I look away like this, you're not hearing it very much. The majority of the microphones I'm going to use on set are omnidirectional. So yes, I'm going to that scenario comes up in the blocking. So in every scene that we set up, the directors are going to have stand-ins, and they're going to be like, "Hey, okay, like let's go through the scene really quick." So in unscripted or in scripted, it's very much like, "Oh, they're looking that way. They're going to be talking in this direction, not this direction. I'm going to place it on this side probably because they're going to be in this demeanor. If it's the other way, then I'm going to do the. You can already hear it; just instantly gets clearer, right? So I'm still with Omni. I'm still probably going to try for some level of like knowing where the scene's going to go. But to your point, if it's just to get somebody, whether they're up or down, looking down like this or looking up, I mean, that's kind of, as long as the levels are getting captured correctly, then, in the post world, we typically will balance some of those things out. But yes, omnidirectional microphones are going to be important, not necessarily cardioid microphones if you're buying those. The DJI stuff, they are omni, so like that should work, and you can plug other microphones. You can plug other labs into those as well, so you can still use those. Yeah. Well, any other questions? Just kind of ranted at you all, so yes.
Well, you said at the start of the talk, you're listening to the voices to kind of know, I guess, what those situations are going to be, but you also change it like castles. So, like, I know the Cost 11 is a popular one, but change it to like
Yeah, like DPAs, and again, it's like the DPAs have a super thin cable, so like I know right away, like I have to nail it. Like DPA is just a different kind of microphone or creator, and I just know that like I can't make a mistake on those ones. The Mickey 2s are a little bit more forgiving sometimes, but also have to be placed really really well. Cost 11s, they sound great in a lot of different spots. So yes, it's a little bit of like the body language. So Cynthia's, I'm just gonna say relatively quiet, right? I probably would have went cost 11, bumped it up a little bit because she's speaking a little bit more. She's not rolling in here being like, hey everybody. Like that's the level that I'm looking for. I'm trying to determine what type of personality is this going to be on camera, what type of personality is this going to be on set as well. Does that answer your question?
yeah. So it's gonna have like a bassier voice, with the choice there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I mean, it would be very awesome if I had that many options all the time. But I mean, the Countryman and the Cost 11, like those are great, rich sounding microphones. So yes, I'd probably go those like, or like the 6060, the DPA stuff is great. Like, but we're talking like that's like pretty high end stuff. So if you're not making major films right now, like I would say you could, if you're doing short films or doc work, like these microphones are great starting kits. It'd be the equivalent of getting like the FX30 for, your B cam or something like that, if that kind of helps context wise. Yeah. Cool. Well, you guys were all really great. Hopefully this was helpful in some regard. I know that Derek said that you guys can have some of these. So if you want, and you want to come up and you want to see like the sound devices, if you want to hear how the microphones sound in your ears, I can plug them in. I think we got a few minutes, but yeah. Thanks so much for hanging out. Really appreciate you guys. Cool.